Hey everybody, happy Teen G Tuesday. How are ya? Welcome to my new, potentially new filming area. Who really knows what's gonna happen nowadays? I was in the shower. It's literally Monday night. Tomorrow's Tuesday. I have a video that I'm like, but I'm like, okay, I had a really good idea in the shower and I wanted to make a video talking about the different roommates that I had while I was living on the Disney Dream. Well, like not talking about my roommates, but like just about like the roommate situation and like I guess a little bit about like my actual roommates. But I thought it would be good for anybody going on a ship or anybody who's just like interested in what crew life is like and like what the living situation is. If you haven't seen my video where I'm talking about the cabin, I have a video of me actually like a cabin tour, if you will, of like the day I got on the ship, of like what my cabin looked like. So for those of you who are new here, hey, I put out videos every Tuesday. Like and subscribe if you're into it. I mostly talk about Disney and like lifestyle and just like some other things. Yeah, I was a fairy godmother in training on the Disney Dream for like 5 months. And I talk about like that experience a lot. And if that interests you, keep watching. So when I embarked the Disney Dream, I embarked October 2017, and right away, like I went straight into training. They took your bags from you and you go like straight into a full day of work. You literally wake up and they put you up usually at a hotel. They put me up at the Pop Century Resort. I have my embark day, 2 of my embark days vlogged, and I will link them in the description below so you guys can watch. But basically on both of those days, like literally there's one video of me like sitting on the bed in Pop Century the night before being like, oh my gosh, what's about to happen? But I basically talk about like the magic band that they give you and the privileges they give you at that time and what those days are like. So I'll link those down below. Those are like not as watched as my other cruise line videos because I don't think people know that that's what they are. So I'm gonna throw them down there for you. Make sure you watch them. On embark day, you get on a bus. Disney comes with their cruise line bus and you take a bus to Port Canaveral. You get there, it's still dark out. It was so early, and you get on board, they take your luggage, and you go straight into a full day of training. And it's like, obviously very exhausting and tiring and hard, but I just kept thinking like, what is my roommate gonna be like? Because everybody wants the bottom bunk, right? Like, you're getting bunk beds, you usually want the bottom because like you can just come in and like crash right away. You can like sit on your bed without having to climb a ladder, or like jump from the table. I just wanted the bottom bunk. I've never had to have bunk beds before, and I was like, it'll just be more fun. But I wasn't betting on it because I knew like the way that it works is basically they're rotating people in and out of the ship all of the time. In the boutique, there's 10 girls, and so like when one leaves, a new one comes in that same day. So there's always like a rotation of people, but we only have like a 7-room block for ferries. So if somebody leaves one room and you're one person in the room for a day, you're switching your bed to the bottom because obviously you want to be on the bottom. So I just assumed there would be somebody in my room and I would get in and go on the bottom bunk because that's usually what happens. I was super lucky because when I got to the ship, for some miraculous reason, the girl who was supposed to be my bunk mate was supposed to be coming from the Fantasy. I got this room that was still in the block for ferries, but it was called like the rotation room or something. So basically I was in there full time, but whoever my roommate was, and this was my whole contract long, was constantly rotating. So if somebody was like coming on from Castaway because they had to like get back to Port Canaveral, which I'll explain in a little bit, like those kind of people would stay with me because they would only be there for like one cruise, so like 4 days, 3 days. I always had like short-term roommates. So everybody else that I knew in the boutique had their roommate who also worked with us because you live with who you work with. So like all the girls in the boutique were paired off, and then like I was the random girl who just had random roommates, which was kind of nice because not that I didn't like any of the girls, and we got along very well, but it's kind of exhausting to be with somebody all the time, even though there really wasn't like opportunity for us to not be friends. I don't know, I'm going off on a rant. Anyway, so I get in my room, it's empty, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I won the jackpot! I was so excited because I embarked with this girl named Rochelle who had to go down to the dining block of rooms, and she had a roommate who was already in her room. And so I was by myself and I was like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. So the girl that was supposed to embark and be my roommate or my cabin mate was coming from the Fantasy, and I guess like they didn't come. Something happened. She either got sick or they didn't discharge her. I don't know what happened, but like she didn't make it onto the Dream. So my first cruise, I embarked on a Monday and I had Monday through Friday by myself. And I was like, and then Friday came and everybody's like, oh, you're getting this roommate from this department. She's gonna be in your room. And then I didn't. So I had 2 cruises with no roommate. So I had a whole full week, Monday through Sunday, fully by myself. And it was fantastic because I got to like set everything up the way I wanted to. I got to just like chill and not worry about it. And it was like really nice. So my first week on the ship, I was totally by myself. So I set up everything and like claim what drawers I wanted for myself. I mean, there's not that much room, but like what I needed, I took for what I divided up the room the way I wanted to. So that was cool. Like I picked which wardrobe I wanted and I picked which side of drawers I wanted. So then I started getting roommates who, like I said, were just kind of like rotational. And I'll be honest with you, I am amazed. I don't know if it's just like we're all in the same horrible situation and we're all like, not horrible situation, but we're all in the same situation together. We're all on the same boat, like, you know, literally. And I never heard of anybody like not getting along with their roommate, and I had never not gotten along with any of my roommates, and I think I probably had like 10 over the course of the 5 months that I was on the ship. So I started getting these girls in. I had one girl from South Africa. These are like the ones that I just like remember having right away. I remember there was a girl from South Africa who is legit so nice, and she was from one of the classic ships, either the Magic or the Wonder. And they needed her, she was in guest services, they needed her on the Dream. So she came over, she like wasn't too happy about it. She stayed on the top bunk and she was legit so nice to me. And it's hard because like you can't really go out of your way to be nice to another person because like you have so much going on and you're constantly like go, go, go. But I'll never forget this. Like this was one of the highlights of my cruising career. So every Wednesday, the cabins get cabin inspection. So on Tuesday nights we go out and party. It's called Deck 14. So we go to Deck 14 on Tuesday nights and we like have a wild time and we go to bed at like, I don't know, 3, 4 in the morning. And then we literally go to work the next day at like 7 or 8. So Tuesday nights, or like Wednesdays are the days where everybody's like, ugh. And it's cabin inspection. So you need to make sure your room is spotless before you go to work that day. So your bed has to be made, your life jacket needs to be on your bed. You can't have anything that's illegal. So like there can't be any fruits or vegetables over like the allotted amount. So like you're allowed to have 1 apple or 1 fruit per person in the room. So we could have like 2 apples. If we had 3 apples, we would have had like a strike against us. If our beds weren't made, we would have had a strike against us. So they basically just come in and look. Or when you get on the ship, you have to have your electronics or like your blow dryers and things that you have to plug in. You have to go get them checked by the engineers. They have to put a sticker on it saying like this is okay. If you have something that doesn't have a sticker on it and they see it, they'll confiscate it. So basically it's just like stressful because you're like, okay, is everything like in line? Is everything good? And you're already like just hungover, tired, whatever. So I got to work and I was like, oh my God, it's Wednesday, it's cabin, and you can't go back to your room. So I called my cabin from work and she picked up and she was like, hey, you didn't make your bed. I already made it for you and I put your life jacket on the bed. And I was like, thank you. And I was so good about making my bed like every day, but the life jacket was the one thing that I like would forget. And there was always somebody, like Wednesday mornings, you know, somebody was like, I have to go to the bathroom so I can go put my life jacket on my bed. That was like, okay, it's like 10 minutes into this video and I'm like talking about crazy stuff, but it's true. So she was so nice because she like did that for me. She was like such a motherly figure. She was like in her 40s. And she really just like handled shit for me. If I ever needed anything, she's like, do you want to come to the mess with me? Do you want me to bring you back something? She was just like always so nice. So I like really appreciated her so much. And then Shannon went on a cruise with her family and she saw her and I was like, I love her. So anyway, that was just like lovely. I skipped, but the first roommate I ever had, so like me and Rochelle were hanging out so much that first week because I had the empty room. So like we always just had like powwows in my room because Rochelle could lay on the top. I could lay on the bottom, like in between our safety classes. Plus our schedule the first week was all the same because we were going to all the same training classes. So one day, like after training, we popped back in the room, and this is on one of my YouTube videos or maybe it's not, maybe I put this on my Instagram story. I wonder if I can find the video. I'll put it in here if I can. But we walked in the room and there was like a blue suitcase, and we were like, oh. So like somebody must have gotten on the ship, and she put her luggage in my room, but she like wasn't in there. So we were like trying to see if there were like any clues. We were like, where's she from? Couldn't find anything. But she ended up being from Castaway. For those of you who don't know, Disney has a private island called Castaway Cay. And there are around like 150 workers who live on the island. That number could be a lot higher than it actually is. Let's say 100 to be safe. 100 workers who live on the island who are like lifeguards, things like that. And they live in also like cabin-esque areas, but it's kind of more like summer camp. Anyway, when you're done with your contract and you need to get off the island, you get on the ship and you sail with us till we're back at Port Canaveral. Also, the people from the island do rotations where they're on the island for X amount of months, and then they have to come on a ship for 1 week to be a lifeguard on the ship and then go back to the island. I don't know why that is. It's something about the law. Anyway, she was on the ship for, I feel like a week, and she was just like really chill. She told me like all these stories about living on the island, and I really liked her, and then she was like gone. You didn't see them much or anything like that, so it was like whatever. But as long as they're like nice and respectful of your stuff, like whatevs. I learned like so much about people because literally all of my roommates were from all over the world. I did have one girl from like Tokyo, and she had this like charcoal toothpaste. These are just like the random things I remember. She had this charcoal toothpaste that like was powder, so she would like dunk her toothbrush in it and like brush her teeth, and the bathroom's like this big, so there would just be like black charcoal powder everywhere, and I was always just like, ugh. But like who cares, because it is what it is. No, there's no arguing. It's just like, okay, well, it is what it is. But she did get mad at me once because, so the beds, if you watch the tour video, have these little curtains that you can open and shut, and usually at night, or if you're sleeping during the day, if you have like an hour break and you're taking a nap, you shut your curtains. You have a light in your like bed, and it's like a little coffin. You just like shut your little curtains and you're in this little space, and you're just like, it's your space, you know? You have a little tiny shelf like right here. It's like in the corner of the wall. It's maybe this big. And I would keep like one book and one sheet mask, and then like my phone right there. Because I wouldn't charge my phone at night because I couldn't turn the Wi-Fi on during the day, so it was always charged. Anyway, she was in her bed with one of the curtains shut and one of the curtains open, and she was watching TV. And this boy from dining came and knocked on my door, who was my friend, and he came in, and I sat on my bed and he was sitting on the chair, and we were like chatting. We were being very quiet, like I mean, like it's bound to happen. Like people are gonna come in and out of your room. It just is what it is. Like your friends have friends, and it happens. So we were talking like very quietly, and she like ripped over the curtain, and she was like, I do not like condone boys in our room. And I was like, okay, like we'll go in the hallway, what the heck? That was weird. And then she was out like literally in 2 days. I don't know where she went, but she was like short term. She was guest services from another ship too. All of my roommates were older than me, like by a significant amount. We did get a ferry from Russia, and she was my longest roommate. I had her during Christmas time. She embarked and then immediately was like off for medical. So she had like a back injury. So she actually took her bed and covered it with like a bunch of cardboard boxes. This is what the nurse like told her to do, so that she would like be on a stiff bed instead of like a cushy bed. And if you're off medically on the cruise ship, you're in one of three places. You're either in isolation in the medical center, which doesn't happen often. You're in isolation in your cabin, which is more common, or you are discharged off the ship medically, which happens too. So she was medically off for like 3 weeks in our room. So every single time I went in my room, she was there. which was fine. Like, it didn't bother me, but like the lights were always off, and like anytime I was trying to do something, because she was like sleeping, anytime I was trying to do something, like I couldn't see, and I didn't want to turn the lights on because that's like rude, you know? So that was like hard. It was more frustrating just because you never had, like, you literally never had a second to yourself, because any chance you had of being alone, it was in your cabin. And so I didn't have that at all. And another thing, she was so sweet, and I hate saying this, but like if she was awake, she was talking my ear off, and I was like I have to sleep, or I have, like, your time is so precious on cruise line, you like don't have a lot of time to yourself. So I was like, I just want to like read my book or like watch my TV show or whatever. So but she did get me like a really cute Christmas gift. She was very, very nice to me. She was super sweet. She did end up getting medically discharged off the ship, and that's when I got a roommate from Shops. And then she stayed a while too, because she was on the ship. She wasn't rotational, and she was very kind. Really nice to me, like had worked on ships for a long time, other ships, not Disney ships, and she's like got it. She was very wise, and like never like was too chatty or whatever. She just like was very like did her stuff, and that was it. You learn like a lot about different cultures when you're working on a cruise ship. Obviously you're with people who are from everywhere. Like, I never knew this before, and maybe like a lot of people know, or maybe it's not a thing that all people do, but maybe like ship people, but like Brazilian girls that I roomed with would always wash their underwear in the sink and like hang it on a line. And I was like, that's because I like walked into the bathroom one day, like 3 weeks into my contract, and there was just like underwear hanging. I was like, that's so interesting. I wonder if my roommate like just hang dries her underwear. But I guess like they think it's like gross to put their dirty underwear with their dirty clothes. And then I was like, I never thought about that. Like, it is kind of gross. So just like stuff like that, or like the knickknacks that people have. It's just like interesting because like you're so in their life, because you're like literally in their face 24/7. Yeah, I don't know. I feel very fortunate to have had that experience and like learned so much about so many different people. It's like really funny to look back on and think about like how much of a family you form in that environment and how quickly. Happy TNG Tuesday, everybody. I hope you have a fantastic week. I am excited to make the next couple of videos for you guys. D23 is literally on Thursday. Well, it's on Friday, but I'm flying to California on Thursday. I'm so excited. Can't wait to see Julia. Can't wait to see Kenny freaking Ortega. Oh, let me just say that real quick. So the online reservation system for D23 this year, if you heard about it, great. If you didn't, I'll talk about it in my D23 video. But me and Julia got every single thing that we wanted, which I know a lot of people like didn't get anything they wanted. So I am so grateful because we secured the bag for the Disney Legends ceremony, the Disney Broadway 25th anniversary, the top secret Walt Disney Company project panel, the Parks and Resorts panel, which, oh my gosh, last year I was like mind blown, but I'm so hoping that they say something about cruise line. Anything about cruise line. They have to, because once the next D23 is happening, the first of the 3 new ships should be out. So like there's not any time to release new information between now and then. I mean, they could on the internet, but like not in a shocking way. So hopefully they give us some info, but it is bad luck to announce a ship's name before the ship is christened. So we'll see what they, even like just a rendering. Bobby I, let me know. All right guys, happy Tuesday. Bye.